In this video, we are breaking down the Apple spring-loaded event, going through everything that was announced and what it means for you as a creator. Now, there's going to be in 3 sections here. We're going to go with just the facts, so just the high-level overview. If you just want to know what went down, we're then going to do a deep dive into exactly what was announced at the event, and then I'm going to open it up for your questions, comments, and feedback. But let's cut to the chase. We have a new iMac. It's an M1 chip. It's a 24-inch complete redesign. It's going to be from $1,299. You can order it on the 30th of April, and it's going to come in the second half of May. We also have a new iPad Pro with an M1 chip. Yeah, you heard me. An M1 chip. It's going to be an 11-inch and 12.9-inch models. The 12.9 is going to have mini LED display, and it's going to have a USB-C Thunderbolt port. Yes, Patrick and I talked about that yesterday, a Thunderbolt port on the USB-C port on the iPad Pros. That's available to order on the 30th of April and available the second half of May. There is a new 4K Apple TV with a brand new remote. It has HDR support. It's got an A12 Bionic chip on board. It's from $179, and you guessed it, you can order it on the 30th of April, and it's available in the second half of May. AirTags, we can finally put to bed. They are no longer a rumor, they are now a thing. You can order them, they're $29 each or $99 for a 4-pack. You get free engraving, including emojis. I know you're going to be happy about that. And they come with FindMy, including precision finding. So if you've got an iPhone 12 or something with the U1 chip, then you can actually use that to use the precision finding mode. And they are also available to order from the 23rd, but you can get your hands on them by the 30th. That's pretty cool, yeah. And finally, the iPhone 12 is purple. Yeah, that's it. It's purple now. It's an amazing new spring color, and it's purple. So there you go. Thanks, everyone. I hope you had a good... So that is what we'll be talking about in this one. We're going to go through in more detail, but yes, to summarize, new iMacs, M1 chip, integrated design, brand new format. We've got the new iPad Pro with the M1 chip, including the 12.9 with the liquid retina display, the mini LED, the new 4K Apple TV. The AirTags are a thing, and iPhone's now in purple. So are you excited? What's the initial thoughts, the initial reactions? We'll talk about it. Yeah, there's a lot to go through and a lot to unpack with this one, which is what we're going to do now. And I'm going to take you back to the start now and jump in and look at what actually went down. So let's bring up our man Tim Cook, because it's a great day for Apple, and it's a great day for announcements. There you go. So here's our man. So the start of the presentation, I'm going to now go through in probably 15 to 20 minutes what it took Apple an hour, because I'm going to leave out the words beautiful, magnificent, stunning, and game-changing, and the best something ever. So just removing those phrases will take it from 1 hour down to about 20 minutes. So let's crack on through, though. So the first major thing that was announced is the Apple credit card. Yeah, you can now share it with your family. That's about it. Okay, so if you have an Apple credit card, you can now share. I had a dream last night, actually. I think I heard a bit of the announcement in my sleep because I had my phone on, and I had a dream that I got a package from Apple and they sent me a credit card that I didn't ask for. It didn't happen, but it's a thing. The podcasting app is being upgraded and updated. So this is something that's going to be interesting for creators. I didn't mention it in the start because it's kind of a small thing, but it is going to be updated. It means that there's going to be a subscription model that's going to launch next month. So this is going to be a Patreon YouTube membership-like model. That means that you can actually jump in and set yourself up with a monetization options for your podcasts within Apple Podcasts. How it's going to work if people subscribe through other podcasting means or aren't on iOS devices, no idea, but it's happening. It's going to come. Right. The iPhone 12 is purple. That is all. I think that's all we need to say about that. AirTags. So AirTags are actually a thing, as you can see there. That's what they look like. You can personalize them and you can get accessories. There's precision finding, which I'll show you in a sec. There's the accessories. So of course you can buy these. They're probably already on eBay now at $3 each, and I'm sure they probably cost a lot. We'll check that out in the deep dive section afterwards, but you can get little key rings and key tags and all sorts of things like that with your AirTags. And there's the precision finding. So that I'm reasonably excited about, given that I did splurge and have the iPhone 12 here. So using an AirTag, and if my wallet is somewhere and it can guide me there through haptic feedback and through on-screen displays and audio and whatever, then that's not actually too bad. So that is a decent kind of feature that makes it a bit different from your regular run-of-the-mill tiles that just beep and buzz and you have to then find them. So yeah, I'm reasonably impressed with that. There you go. The tag comes in red, so you know I'll be buying 7 of them so that they can all be red. So I'll have red accessories on mine. And there you go. So $99 for a 4-pack. And look, you can get them personalized. So I wonder what emojis you can use. Can you get like the horns emoji? So I'll just get like all my AirTags will just be like going, yeah, rock and roll, man. I thought that said M1. It says NM. That would be the ultimate fanboy to say, yeah, M1. Patrick saying, I'm sure they mentioned the Apple. Yeah, I know. It's like, let's get into this exciting thing. Credit cards. And yeah, probably monetization on Apple's terms. If you have the Apple credit card, your family can now bankrupt you twice as fast. I know. And if you buy things through the Apple store, there's absolutely 0 checks. That's what I've heard. No. Right. Apple TV. So what's happening with Apple TV? I mean, it's not really related to content creation, but it is a content consumption device. Yeah, so more shows. They spent maybe 10 minutes talking about all the different shows on Apple TV. I'm not a huge TV watcher, but if you are, there's going to be more. So if you've got an Apple TV subscription, that's fine. So the new 4K Apple TV, it's got the A12 Bionic chip in there. It's got the HDR, so it can support HDR video with the HDR frame rate, which is a thing that it can do. And yeah, that's really about it. No, wait, there's more. We also have, where am I at? What's that? Oh, that's the light sensor. I took these clips and I'm like, what am I showing here? That's the light sensor. So you can now actually like do the color correction and the light sensing to make sure that your display is set correctly. That's a good thing because a lot of people just set their TV at like the in-store brightness and you walk into someone's house and your face has flashed off and it's got that weird soap opera sort of fast motion thing on. Anyway, that can only help things, yeah. New remote, which I'm glad about because the old remote is just terrible and doesn't work and just gets lost all the time. They didn't mention if there's FindMy on the remote. I don't think there is. That's something I really desperately wanted because I'm always losing my remote, but you got some new functionality on the remote there. And as we mentioned, there's 2 models. 32 gigabytes, $179, 64 gigabytes, $199, and you can go ahead and buy that. You can order it on the 30th and get it in May if you want it. Apple TV, who knew? All right. iMac. So, the iMac. So, Patrick and I talked about this in our preview show yesterday that we thought, you know, they wouldn't just put an iMac out with just the A12, just the M1 chip in it, would they? There's got to be something new. No, turns out they're so happy with the M1 chip, they've stuck it in the iMac. So it is in the iMac. So what do we know about it? It's 11.5 millimeters thin. Nothing is thick. It is thin. And it comes in colors. And I did note down one of the superlatives here. Carolyn, was it Carol? No, I can't remember who it was talking about the iMacs. She said the colors that bring a sense of joy. Like, that's subjective, but sure. Joyful colors. There are the joyful colors. So it comes in, 7 different colors? There's 2 different models. One comes in 4 colors. One comes in 7 colors. We'll talk about the details of it in a moment. So there is the iMac in all of its colorful glory. And there's its front profile. Now, Patrick was talking. I saw him chatting just beforehand. Patrick from the GarageBand Guy, by the way, who was on the show with me yesterday doing the preview, that this chin, this big chunky chin down here, is something that he really wanted to see go bye-bye. And I guess that's where they've put all the stuff. In fact, it is where they've put all the stuff because they showed it. Because it is so thin, because it is this ridiculous level of thinness, and I mean, look, people probably want thin, but I've never looked at something like this and gone, you know what, it's 2 centimeters thick. I really want it to be 1.15 centimeters thick, but apparently other people do. Which is why our iPhones and iPads have no headphone jacks. Yes, exactly. Speaking of headphone jacks, I don't know if this has one. I thought I saw one on the side. I should have checked the specs. We can check that afterwards. But if you know, let me know in the chat. Yeah, and you know what? They do look good. I'm not going to lie either. They look pretty cool. Like if I was going for an all-in-one design, I talked about it yesterday that I'm a dual monitor dude, so I can't really go with the one monitor iMac all-in-one design, so I'll be using my Mac Mini. But there's some accessories that come with the iMac that I need to work out if they're going to work with my Mac Mini, because if they are, I'll probably buy them. So there you go. And yeah, Patrick says not a fan of the design. No, the chin is still there. I don't know. They should have put a forehead. They should have put it up the top where the camera goes. Speaking of the camera, did I get a shot of the camera? Yeah, I did. 1080p. So we're working on it. We're getting there. We went from the 720p, and they legitimately said, "Oh, it's twice as good as the 720p camera." Well, they didn't say that, but they said, "Yeah, 720p." But when your display is 480 by 2520, you got a 4.5K display. You can't just stick a 4K front-facing camera in there, like just to give you just a little bit of oomph. Nope, they've said no. 1080p. 1080p is enough for anyone. Just like 640K was enough for anyone. Yep. So it is a 1080p FaceTime HD, which doubles the resolution. It's got the big sensors. It's got the M1 image signal processor, like we have in the MacBook and MacBook Air, MacBook Pro and MacBook Air. So that's a thing at a place. What am I showing here? The mics. So there is a 3 mic array. So it is definitely not going to be super cool for if you're thinking, hey, I'll just get my iMac and I'll use that to record in GarageBand. Yeah, maybe, but it's not really. It's 3 microphones, but it's very focused on voice. So everything in this announcement, not surprisingly, was all around the fact that, hey, everyone's on Zoom meetings all day. I'm surprised there wasn't like an Apple Zoom competitor announced, but everyone's on Zoom meetings. We want to capture your voice. So it's a 3 mic array. It'll help you reduce your background noise. It'll help focus on the speaker. But as you probably know, with any technology that is designed for voiceover or for video chatting, it's not the best for audio because it does its fancy noise cancellation. That's not what you generally want when you're recording instruments or recording vocals, etc. So you're still going to need to plug yourself in. I don't know. People are saying, Pete, no one's going to record in this. But, if you use your iPhone, you actually can. These have decent microphones. So you'd get away with it, but wouldn't guarantee it. Wouldn't recommend it. There's the speakers. So we've actually got a 6-speaker system in there. So for audio files, it will be okay. It's got 6 speakers. It's got two pairs of twin woofers and then 2 high-performance tweeters. That's their talk, not mine. But it does look okay. I mean, you're not going to get massive sound out of something that's 1 centimeter thick, ever. And Apple will definitely have gone with the lightness and thinness over the quality of speakers. So, again, you may want to try and find a way. You'll be putting an audio interface into this thing, and there is some connectivity to do that. So that's okay. This is kind of cool. There is Ethernet on one of the models. There's Ethernet right there on the power adapter, which I thought was a pretty cool innovation because you want to keep as few wires connected up to your computer as possible, and I don't mind that at all. Having your Ethernet plugged straight into your power brick, not bad. Kudos there. Credit where it's due. Now, this is what I'm reasonably excited about because I've been grappling with keyboards and I've not owned a genuine Apple Magic keyboard, but now that they've released this keyboard, and I'm assuming I can buy it separately, we'll check afterwards, but the new keyboard has Touch ID, and there is a version with a number pad, because if you're like me and you're old school and you need a number pad, there's also a version of the number pad, and yeah, you've got the Touch ID sensor there on there. David's saying, what's the maximum RAM? I think it's 16 gigabytes. Yes, it is. 16 gigabytes of RAM. So it's using the exact same setup as those entry-level MacBooks and Mac Minis, so it's the same thing, 8 or 16 gig of RAM. We'll talk about that in a moment. So yeah, like that, like the new Magic Keyboard, the new Magic Mice, I've heard they're really bad, so I've never owned one of them, and I probably won't. I'll probably stick with my Logitech mices, but there's new mice and new trackpads. And of course, they're all in the matching color. I want to ask if I can get a different color of everything. I bet you can't, but how annoyed would Apple be if you're like, oh, look at my beautiful new desktop, and you've got a green mouse and a purple keyboard and an orange iMac. You know what? People should be able to do that. Alrighty, so there you go, $12.99 starting out. So the $12.99 model has your 8 gigabytes of unified memory, your 256 gigabyte SSD, the 8-core CPU, and the 7-core GPU. So that is the exact same M1 chip used in the MacBook Air, the entry-level MacBook Air, and including the 2 USB-C Thunderbolts, and you get the Magic Keyboard with that one. If you splurge and go the $14.99, you get the updated one. So you get the 8-core GPU and CPU, You get the same memory and the same supply there, but you do get an additional 2 USB 3 ports. So there's 2 ports on the first one, but for whatever reason, they've been able to find a way, which means that they were kind of lying to us the first time around with the Mac Mini. They've found a way to get an extra 2 ports. Actually, no, the Mac Mini does have 2 ports. Forget I said anything. But yeah, they've found a way to get 4 USB-C ports. So again, you got no USB, the old style A ports. They're all USB-C and Thunderbolt ports on there. And then you get the Magic Keyboard with the Touch ID, and you get that Ethernet power brick. So keep that in mind, that the smaller model has the one less graphic core, doesn't have the Ethernet thingy, and only has the regular Magic Keyboard. The model up, you get that next slightly beefier chip with the 8-core GPU, you get the Touch ID, you get 2 additional ports. So if I was buying an iMac, I'd definitely go the extra 200 and grab that one, because yeah, you're going to be limited by the number of ports. I would have thoughts. That rhymes, and you know that rhymes. So there's all the big things. There's all the numbers and all the stats and all the things, all the impressive. I'll give Apple credit. They do a good job. Like these little infographics that they do like this are actually really good. That's impressive. That's a large amount of information really clearly displayed on one screen. So kudos. And there you go, Thunderbolt and USB 4. So it even has USB 4 support. So I didn't mention that before as well. All right, let's go. Let's talk iPads, shall we? The iPad Pro was announced, and it is using the M1 chip, which they're saying is 75 times faster. But look, they've done an Apple than the iPad first generation. The iPad first generation that was released, 15 years ago? And was running like an ARM-based processor that could barely like boil a cup of tea. Anyway, 75 times faster, looks better on a graphic than maybe, 1.5 times faster. So if you're comparing this to the A13s and the A14 chips, the M1 is not 75 times faster, but why let facts get in the way of a good story? Anyway, 75 times faster than the original one. I put this in here because they mentioned LumaFusion. By the way, we got absolutely zero mention of any music making apps or any music making whatsoever. Zilch. I watched the entire hour and there was nothing. LumaFusion got 2 mentions though. So for video creators, and here's the thing, they mentioned video creation, they mentioned camera. Even on the iPad, they were talking about the camera and why people would use the camera. I don't know anyone that uses an iPad to actually record video. Yeah, edit video with LumaFusion, sure, but record video, no pros are hooking up iPads to use the cameras on the iPads. They'll use the iPhone 12 and 12 Pro, but not the iPad. Anyway, I just liked it because I love LumaFusion, and it shows the use of LumaFusion. Does have the gaming support they talked about quite a bit, because it's got the M1, and it's going to have compatibility for Xbox and PlayStation controllers. Of course, they put the PlayStation controller there, not the Xbox controller, because Microsoft, yeah, Apple, you know what I'm saying. And yeah, so the news is USB-C. We speculated this yesterday, Patrick and I, and it is indeed going to be Thunderbolt. So that does level up the accessories. You can start using Thunderbolt docks, Thunderbolt hubs, and Thunderbolt storage and displays. So this does actually make a difference. And if there was one thing that it would actually make me grab my iPad Pro 2020 and throw it in the trash and buy a new one, it's probably the port, because just being able to set it up with a nice full Thunderbolt dock that I can just have here in the studio all the time with everything connected, and then just come in and go boom with one cable, that could be a thing. I don't know. There you go. ACBT saying the original iPad was released in 2010. So yeah, 11 years ago, 75 times faster than an 11-year-old computer. And Yuska's saying 300 times faster than the original Mac from 1984. Yes, probably more, probably 3,000 times faster than the original Mac. So there's the port. Yeah, there's where they're showing that someone's on a, like, why would you have that? You're on a ferry of all things, and you're using a tripod there. I'm not putting my $2,000 iPad Pro with a 12.9-inch liquid crystal retina display on a stand and hoping that it doesn't topple over on a ferry. I'm putting my phone there with a pretty hefty friggin' case around it, just quietly. So, yeah, I don't know why they're thinking that people are doing that. And, of course, using AirPods Pro, which have the greatest quality audio in the world, especially in outdoor and windy environments. Yeah, anyway, don't do that. So don't use your iPad camera. Just showing some of the cool new things you can do with video. Again, I'm not sure. And, yeah, the Liquid Retina XDR. So Again, the thing is, if you missed it in the start, the 11-inch model will not have the Liquid Retina XDR display, won't have the mini LED. It'll just have the same display that's on the 2020 model. The new display, the new Liquid Retina display, is only on the 12.9-inch model. So keep that in mind. If, like me, you prefer the smaller model for portability, but you want the better display, you're going to have to go, which kind of sucks because it's very similar to the iPhone. I got the iPhone 12 Pro, and I wanted to get the Pro Max because of the Dolby Atmos video and the image stabilization, like better quality video, but you can only get that in the Max, the giant phone, and I didn't want a giant phone, so always a trade-off there with those things. And there's Terry Morgan from LumaFusion. I just like LumaFusion so much. Hi, Terry. When I saw her in the development bit, I'm just like, yay, LumaFusion for the win. And this was, look, you can see there, I had to get the screenshot. It's even got the YouTube little bits around it because it was so fast that I couldn't screenshot it in time. So, yeah, and it's showing Billie Ellie. I thought that was supposed to be Billie Eilish. No, it says Blue Ellie, doesn't it? So yeah, some sort of notation app that they were showing there. I don't know if anyone could identify that app. I don't know it, but it's something. I can see music. I don't know. I don't know what app it is, but they literally flashed past it, and I don't know. What's Patrick saying here? That the iPad looks great. Grab yourself an M1 equipped 11-inch iPad Pro for $750 or $799, the same price as the 2020 11-inch iPad Pro, and you're getting a brilliant deal. Absolutely. We said this yesterday, that if you are, by the way, this is the new white Magic Keyboard because they had to do something, purple iPhones and white Magic Keyboards. If you are on an iPad Pro first or second gen, I think now might be the time. I think this is the perfect optimal time to update. If you're on the 2018 or the 2020, you got some decisions to make. The 2018 maybe because you're getting some of those benefits, but I'm still not sold on it. The 2020, I'm gonna need some convincing. Like I said, the Thunderbolt I'm going to need some convincing to go from that. Given that the screen technology is not any different, yeah, I don't think so. I don't think I'll be taking the plunge, but yeah, definitely there's an option there if you've got an older one. What is the entry-level memory on the 11-inch iPad Pro? I believe it's 6 gigabytes. I'll see if they've got the stats there. They usually don't release the specs and stats right away, but they didn't say that updated the memory, but they never mentioned the memory. So the 2020 iPad Pro had 6 gigabytes on both the 11-inch and the 12.9-inch models. I haven't heard that they've gone to 8 or higher, but maybe they have. So we'll try and find that out as we go through and deep dive after this section. And there you go. So $799 for the 11-inch, $1099 for the 12.9-inch. You can go ahead and order those. Again, ordering starts on the 30th of April, and they'll be available in the second half of May. And your prices may vary. That's US dollars there, Freedom Eagles that you'll be paying. So there it is. There's the spec sheet on everything. You can take a pause of that one. All-day battery life, ProMotion, 4-speaker audio. Hang on. Up to 16 gigabytes memory. Okay. All right, so up to 2 terabyte storage, up to 16 gigabytes of memory. So the 12, I take it all back. The 12.9 must actually have a memory upgrade, and must be up to that. That's weird. I did not get that. They did not make that super abundantly clear, but that could be interesting, couldn't it? Faster storage, 5G. I buried the lead on that one. It does now have 5G. So if you get a cellular-enabled iPad Pro, you'll get 5G, including the nanometer 5G that you use in the US, as well as regular 5G that we use everywhere else in the world. And there is a new ultra-wide camera that has, now what was it called? Center stage, which is a thing that it pans around and it follows you, which I can only imagine it does using like digital zoom, but the camera's pretty good. So that is it. And Apple Pencil didn't get an upgrade. They just talked about it. They said, oh, and Pencil still exists. I was like, okay, thanks. And the next screen is a blank one, which means we're at the end of the deep dive section here. So what we'll do now, we'll jump over to the Apple website and have a little bit of a play around there. But now is your time to shine. And if you have any of your own opinions, and if you have any of your own thoughts or questions, then you can definitely throw those in here. Tom Rochelle says the XDR display is amazing. Darren Bright, what is the entry-level memory on the 11-inch iPad? Yeah, we'll have a look at memory. We'll see if we can find that in a moment. Huska says, I'm a tiny bit tempted to get an iPad Pro instead of an iMac. It's a hard one, isn't it? Especially now that you've got the Thunderbolt out. And I think Mark, was it you, Mark, that put on Facebook that the iMac is a big iPad and the iPad is a small iMac. Now that they're both running the M1 chip, it is legitimately the same thing. It is just the display that you're using and the lack of connectivity. But again, once you shove a Thunderbolt, we'll price it up in a minute. Once you shove a Thunderbolt hub or Thunderbolt port replicator or something and then plug that into your iPad Pro, you're going to have yourself basically an iMac setup, because some of those Thunderbolt things have got like dual display and all sorts of things. So I think you could basically set yourself up a pretty decent setup that way. Yeah. And they're definitely starting to make a distinction between the iPad Pro and other models. So the thing about that is, and we talked about it yesterday, because the question always comes up, when is Logic Pro coming to the iPad Pro? This now makes me think that there'll definitely be a distinction. It makes me a little bit sad, because it means that I think Big Sur will probably run. Big Sur and iOS are smooshing together, and Big Sur and iPad Pro OS will probably just kind of eventually merge together. What it does mean, though, is that the iPad Pro 2020 that I currently use may not be included if they start release. So Final Cut Pro and Logic Pro, if they say, yep, they can now run on this, because they're running the M1 and the old iPads are running the A13, there is going to be a difference between those. And yeah, we may see that alignment of those Pro apps just on the M1. So we'll see. Huska says the M1 chip is extremely game-changingly fast, as you all know. A completely different philosophy on computing versus Intel chips, which is surpassing them. Putting in the iPad makes it a monster. It really does. And yeah, like I'm using a Mac Mini M1. And again, if you told me a year ago, if we were sitting down here at last spring event, which I was, if you told me, Pete, you'll be streaming on a Mac Mini with a brand new M1 chip with only 8 gigabytes of RAM and you'll be loving it, I would have called you an absolute liar and told you to get off my lawn and go and yell at clouds, because it just wasn't within the realms of possibility. But then it happened. And now here we are. So I'm losing my ability to be skeptical of things that Apple do, because every time, again, I'm not an Apple fanboy and I'm definitely not an Apple hater. I'm somewhere in between. I'm a user of products to create stuff. I create music, I create video, and I use products. Up to a year ago, I used PCs because I found them a lot more user-friendly. You got much more bang for your buck. That is shifting, that is changing in terms of the desktop realm, and we'll see what that means. Gary Hubbs says, I look forward to this new iPad in 10 years from now. But absolutely, I'm there with you. Asa BT says, I would use an iPad Pro, but I'm still on the fence because of the stories I heard when the design changed about the iPad Pro's bending. Well, I mean, I can only give you my experience. The iPad 2020 that I have here, the 11-inch doesn't bend. The 12.9 inches do feel a little bit more on the flimsy side, but it comes down to, if you've got a nice case on it and you've got a backing on it, you're usually pretty good. I think so. 8 gigabytes of RAM is the basic for the iPad Pro. There you go. So it is 8. They have upped it. So it is 8 gigabytes of RAM is the basic. And it looks like you can actually get a version that has, what they did in the past is the 1 terabyte and now 2 terabyte. I did bury that lead. Apparently there's a 2 terabyte version. We'll go and price them in a sec, that you can actually get a 16 gig of RAM version that's the 2 terabyte. And that makes sense because it's the M1 chip. Like, of course it would. See, I'm an idiot. Because the M1 chip, they're just using the same M1 chip that they used in the Mac Minis and the MacBook Airs. So, of course, it's got 8 or 16. Because they're not going to redesign one that's got 6 or 12, are they? So, it's definitely 8 or 16. See? I literally watched this like an hour ago. So, we're learning together. There you go. It is your time to shine, Gary. Do you think they'll trade in value with old iPads? The value that you get through Apple is always just tiny. We talked about this with Patrick a couple of months ago on another show. If you possibly can sell it separately on Craigslist or eBay or some to a friend or whatever, do that. If you do want to go down the trade-in path, you are going to get a much lower price as a trade-in from Apple than you would if you sold it yourself. That's always the way it goes. There you go. Yep, the iPad Pro is a Mac Mini with a screen, and the iMac is a big iPad on a stand. Nice meme, Mark. I love it. Tom says, my guess is that the next Mac OS upgrade, probably in the fall, they're going to have a universal OS that at least runs the Macs and the iPad Pro. Yeah, it's got to happen, doesn't it? It's got to go down that track. I think so. Yeah, we'll look at these prices in a sec, Huska, on the Mac, on the iPad Pros, and also we'll spec out. I like doing this after these events. Let's spec out the most expensive iPad and the most expensive that we can go with. Gary's saying my iPhone has a headphone jack. My iMac has a built-in DVD drive. Maybe this stream isn't directed at me, or maybe it is. Maybe we're just going with it. Alrighty, let's jump in and do a little bit of that investigating, shall we? We'll remove the presentation there, and we'll jump back over to the Apple website, and let's buy some stuff. Let's start with the iMac. So, as we talked about before, the entry-level model only comes in blue, green, pink, and silver, and has the 7-core processor. It also only has the 2 ports, not the 2 extra USB 3 ports, and no gigabit Ethernet on board. So, yeah, don't buy this, because no Ethernet on board means that you'd have to have a separate Ethernet card, because there's no Ethernet port on these things, which is weird, because there is an Ethernet port on the Mac Mini, but apparently not, because it has it on the power brick. So I wouldn't recommend that one. I would definitely, if you're going for something, go for the next one, because not only do you get the purple or the orange or the yellow, you also get the additional 2 ports and the gigabit Ethernet and the cool Touch ID on the Magic Keyboard, which don't let me forget. I want to find out if I can buy that separately, because I kind of want one. The difference for the next one up is you get 12 gigabytes of storage, still the 8 gigabytes of memory, and all the same stuff. So let's price that one, shall we? We'll select. Why can't I select it? Because I have. Why won't I let me? Can I not? Oh, currently unavailable. Oh, see, that's no good, because I want to see what I can. I want to see what I can configure. So because I can't order it till the 30th, it won't actually let me. It won't let me see what specs I can change. That's a pain in the butt. Storage. So it says. See, this is annoying. I don't think there's any way around this, because I don't think I can see what the prices are. What if we compare the Mac models? Let's see if we can find a way. Yeah, no, I can't spec it out till April the 30th. That sucks. That really sucks. Is that going to be the same with the iPad Pro? Yeah, no, that's no good. All right, let's try. I'm so disappointed by that. Let's try the iPad Pro. It's probably going to be the same thing. Oh, looks like it's let me spec. Is this because we can? There you go. 2 terabyte. Wi-Fi and cellular. So $2,400 bucks on that one. And is it going to give us the specs on that? No, generally not. So we can, yeah. So I'm assuming, though, it must be that the higher you go there, the more memory you get, because there's obviously going to be an 8 gigabyte and a 16 gigabyte version. So I can only assume that as we go up, let's just check the pricing. Do not buy a 128 gigabyte iPad Pro. You will fill it up in a second. So what have we got? $10.99, $11.99, $13, $17. Yeah, I reckon that's the jump. See how from $13.99 for the 512, my gut feel would be that the 1 terabyte and the 2 terabyte models will have the 16 gig, and the 512 and below probably have the 8 gig. That's how they've worked it in the past. Yeah. So I think it will be the same. Now, I'm pretty sure I am here on the I'm on the US side, aren't I? Yeah, I think so. I'm pretty sure I'm doing US dollar bucks. So yeah, that again, we can't get all the specs. So the 30th, what we'll have to do is come back on the 30th and look at all this stuff. What usually happens in the meantime is all the tech pundits go in under the. They do a lot more research than I do. They find all of the different specs, because I'm pretty sure we'll have a look here, but I'm pretty sure it's not going to tell us the specs here, and I doubt. I'll jump across, because they're pretty good on. Yeah, there you go. 16 gig with a 1 terabyte or 2 terabyte, says Mark. I would believe that, and I'm thinking that will be the case. I'm going to check the Wikipedia page, because they're actually pretty quick on this stuff. There's people that are smarter and know more than I do, and they start updating Wikipedia basically the second something new happens. So, yep, we've already got 5th generation that's been announced today, but doesn't have the specs on that one in here. iPad Pro 2018. I don't believe that it has been updated. Or has it? Has it indeed? All right, so it has. There you go. It has been updated here. So if you go to Wikipedia, you can check this one out. So iPad OS 14.5 is what it'll be running. They didn't talk about the OS at all, but iOS 14.5 is coming. So Wi-Fi models, so it's got all the pricing there for everything, which someone's pulled in. M1, 8 gigabytes or 16 gigabytes of RAM. But yeah, again, it doesn't actually show which versions have which. But yeah, it's got all the additional information in here. Thunderbolt, Apple Smart Connector, Apple Magnetic Connector for the Apple Pencil. So yeah, it is all there, but it still doesn't specify. But I'm pretty sure. And Mark, if you've said that it's there, then I reckon that's what it will be. 1 gigabyte model. Sorry, the one or 2 terabyte models will have the 16, and the lower than that will have the 256, which will have the 8 gigabytes, which would make sense. All right. Is anyone going to get the iMac? That's a good question. Let me know before we finish up here, because we're nearly done with this. Before we finish up here, any final questions, any final comments you have, throw them here. If you're watching on the replay, don't worry, you didn't miss out. You can jump down into the comments and leave your comment down there. Hello to Ed Thorne. Good to see you here, my friend. Ed, you need to follow Ed. Follow this man. He does good music-related stuff. If you're a music creator, check out Ed Thorne on YouTube. So yeah, if you've got any final comments, are you looking to buy anything? So for those of you that are watching live, let me know now. Are you looking to buy any of these things? And if you're watching on the replay, leave a comment. Let me know. Are you excited about any of these products? Are you planning to buy any of them? And how would you rate this as an announcement? I mean, it's very easy to criticize Apple. Fun too. Very easy to criticize. The one thing that I wanted to mention is that with the purple one, I'll see. Do I still have my presentation here? I think I closed it down, didn't I? Oh no, still up the back here. So the one thing that I found that was pretty funny is that with Apple's purple announcement, there's obviously some Simpsons fans amongst the Apple world because where was it? It was the purple one. See, there's Tim. There's Tim. It's an amazing event. It's our best spring event ever. Where is the purple iPhone? I can't even find it now. Oh, it was just after Tim, wasn't it? It was back here. Purple, purple, purple. There was the cards, and then there was that. Yeah, this one. Purple. So yeah, bit of a Homer Simpson reference there with the purple iPhones. So yeah, I won't. So what will I be buying? I won't be buying an iPhone. I won't be setting up a subscription-based podcast because I don't think that sounds like a great idea. So no purple. I will probably buy some AirTags. I'm not going to lie. I reckon I'm jumping on to order some AirTags. I'll probably get a 4-pack of AirTags and play with them because I think they will be kind of cool. AirTag in your guitar? Huh. I wonder if it would ruin the sound of an acoustic guitar if I get Mark Taylor over there and fasten an AirTag to the inside of Mark. Guitar amps, getting an AirTag somehow inside or attached to your guitar amps. I think for musicians, this could be actually a pretty cool thing. Can you imagine someone nicks your amp or nicks your guitar, and then you're walking along with your iPhone, and you're like, it's you. It's in the boot of your car. And they're like, dude, what? You're like, my guitar. You've got my guitar. It's right there. And then be like, whoa, dude. That would be cool. So yeah, I think for musicians, for your gear, your audio interfaces, your mixers, if you anything that you can strap something to. The problem would be finding a way to get it in there. But I reckon you could, if you found some space inside, especially if you could get it inside, that would be kind of cool. And as Orchestra Eclipse says, for your pets. Now, this is interesting. Interesting that you said that. I did bury the lead on this, but they did talk. Did I have a picture of this, what it was? No, I didn't. But they talked about the security side, and I kind of jumped over it. But there are some things like unwanted tag detection, and there's a thing that if you do have a tag near you and it's unknown and you don't know that, it'll say there is a tag, like there's a tag in your vicinity. So there are some privacy features because I think Apple really don't want this to be a wife, husband, partner, child tracking creepiness device. They want it to be something that can help you find your stuff. So yeah, that how that plays out will be interesting. Like I said, I'll probably get one and try it out. So take one for the team. So yeah, I'll be spending some money on those. I will not get a new Apple TV, despite the fact that I dislike my remote. Don't need an iMac because I have a Mac Mini and it's basically the same. I need 2 displays, so won't be going down that track as cool as it looks. That's what we need to do. We need to price and see if I can get this keyboard. I knew there was something I'd forgotten, so won't be getting an iMac. And I don't think I'll be getting an iPad Pro. As much as having Thunderbolt would be cool, I've only got the 11-inch, so the screen difference is not going to be a difference. It will be that if things like LumaFusion and things in the future like Logic can only run on the new iPad Pro, then I would kind of just have to take one for the team and buy one anyway, so that I can show you folks how it all works. That's where we're at. So what am I most excited for? It's probably AirTags, which is weird. Yeah, probably weird. That's the thing I'm most excited about, just because they're announced. But I think I'm most excited for the iPad Pro and the M1 integration, and most excited for folks who have been holding on and holding out hope that something cool would happen with the new iPad Pro. It wouldn't just be a slight beef up in the processor. So that now that we know it's an M1, not an A14, I would absolutely recommend. And obviously we don't have the specs and like the full specs, and no one's tested them yet. I would sit back, wait for all of the tech gurus to get them and run them through their paces. I think that they're going to rock and fly along, and I think then you'll get there. There you go. Ed Thorne has the Mac Mini, and it's fast. It is ridiculously fast, isn't it? Mark pondering the new iPad Pro. Yep, I think it's going to be a goer. I think the iPad Pro. Clear Grey Sky says I'm going to get a iPad Pro 12.9. Let us know how it goes. Absolutely. Come back to this video and leave your comments once you get one. Tom says tough to beat last fall's announcement of the M1 Max, but the iPad announcements is this one of the bigger ones. Yeah, exactly. Proper YouTubers use purple. Yeah, I need to get some purple light. It's very clear that purple is the color. Problem is, will purple be the color in 2 years' time? Or will everyone have all this purple gear and then go, oh, orange is the new purple now? Right. AirTags. Yep. AirTags on the remote. I know. I'm going to have to put an AirTag on the remote so I can find that. AirTag on your pets, we talked about as well. Use the AirTag as a pick. Use the AirTag as a pick. Oh, yeah. Guitar pick AirTag. There you go. Then you'll never be without it again. Oh, dear. Asa says, I currently have a tile tracker attached to the back of my MIDI controller, so I can probably make use of AirTag in the same way. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Cool. All right. Well, I think that is towards the end of where we need to be. I did just want to look up a couple of things here. So as I talked about before, I'm excited, and maybe other Mac M1. I want to find out. We'll jump over to the Australian website here, because I'll just see. First of all, I wonder what these things are going to cost in Australia. This is always fun. The iPad Pro is from $1,200 Australian. Let's spec that same 12.9-inch 2TB model with Wi-Fi. Oh, $3,459 Australian dollar bucks. There you go. But I want to see, can I get this Magic Keyboard? Not Magic Keyboard. Is it the Magic Keyboard? No, what is it called? Yeah, it's this one. Magic Keyboard with numeric pad. But no, I want the new one. I don't think they're selling it yet. No, input devices. No. So the question will be, will I be able to get, because I want this, but I want the one with the Touch ID. This isn't it, is it? I don't think so. I want the one with the Touch ID that comes with, yeah, because this is only in silver and space gray. This is the old one. But hopefully they give me the option, because I want the Mac Mini, but I want the keyboard with the Touch ID. And that, I don't know why I want that. But I think it would just be cooler, because I'm sick of typing my password. And I just want to be able to just touch a key and then log into my Mac Mini, because that would be a good thing. And then swap over to my kids' accounts when they're using it. Maybe. We'll see. All right, that is going to do it. Thank you, everyone, for being here. And thank you for your feedback and your input. Once again, if you want to review it, the first 2 or 3 minutes of the video was the absolute info, like the high-level stuff. And then we had a chunk in there that was a bit of a deep dive. And then we've had a chat and a bit of a yarn about all of the different things that may be happening and that you may be doing with this brand new gear. So let me know again if you're watching on the replay, if you did get some value out of this, if you liked that I took one for the team and you didn't have to watch the Apple with all of their superlatives and all of their hyperbole, then hit the thumbs up button. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already, and you want to get up to date with all the latest information about creating, recording, and releasing your best music on your mobile devices, on your iPads and on your Macs and on your other things. And until next time, remember, take care of yourselves, take care of others, and keep creating, and get excited. Get those wallets ready for what you're going to buy. But only buy it if you need it at the end of the day. Thanks for being here, folks. I'll see you next time.